All right, guys, welcome back to another one. Car finally came in. I'm so excited. I wanted to. I've had it like not even like 2, 3 days at this point. I just went and picked it up from the fort. I just brought it in. So of course I have to show you guys and let you know what I got. So a couple of you guys will be spotting those little red seats in the background. So of course that's your clue. But let's get to it. What I want to do is I want to discuss the process it took for me to get it in, kind of that whole thing from getting it at the auction, through shipping it, through picking it up at the port. And then, of course, I want to show you guys the car. So, you guys, as always, thank you for support. Let me know what you think. I know there's a handful of you guys that got this right on your guesses. And that's also what I'll get into is why I picked this up versus a couple of my other options that I was looking at. So anyways, let's get into it. Let's talk about it and let's have some fun. All right, guys. So here it is, my beautiful EK9. Like I said, there was a handful of you that did guess it in the comments. And I just didn't want to spill the beans. It took me about a month and a half to get it over from Japan. I will drop the link below for who I got it through. And as we talk today, you know, I'll let you know kind of how that process worked. I was very, very pleased with the process. The process for me couldn't have seemed simpler, really. And like I said, we'll go over that. The entire process through purchasing it, getting it at auction, getting it shipped, dealing with the broker, getting it to port, and even picking it up at port. That entire process thankfully went super smooth. The only thing I have left is doing the registration and the title, you know, and plates and all of that. But as far as I can tell out here on the East Coast, out here, I'm in Virginia. In Virginia, it doesn't seem to be a big problem, but I'll definitely follow up with you guys on that too as we go along. But yeah, I'll drop those links below. That way you guys can contact them direct. Again, super professional, had a great experience. And then you guys know, if you have any questions, just DM me. Hit me up on IG. I'll definitely help you out. I'll give you, you know, my experience and everything else with how it went. If you have kind of just a question and you don't want to ask it, you know, or, you know, it might seem like a silly question or something, you know, and you just want to, you know, ask somebody, go ahead and ask me. If I can help you out, again, it's kind of like the same thing with like traveling to Japan or anything else. I've had plenty of people reach out to me and ask me questions, ask me how to get to certain locations. You know, I've got a couple videos out for the rental company that I use in Japan where they've asked me questions regarding that. And, you know, I do my best to help everybody out, or at least, you know, point you guys in the right direction. So anyways, let's get back to this EK9 because this thing is beautiful. I was super lucky with the process. I had decided when it was time to move and come out to the East Coast that basically I was going to unload all my cars. Had a little discussion about this in one of my other videos, so that's what happened. I unloaded all my project cars that I had in California, sold those off to actually some really good people, which I was lucky for. So they're getting to enjoy those projects. They're getting to move forward with all of that. And when before I had even come out here, I had already had this car on order. So I guess I'll talk to you about the process a little bit, and then we'll go through and I'll show you the car. I'll show you the exterior, the interior, everything else. But so the process for me, and again, I'll put that link down below in IG for you guys for who I use to do this. The way it went was I sold my R32, which you guys know. The second that car rolled away from my garage, and the new owner had picked it up. I reached out to my guy in Japan, and I was like, look, I need a car. I need a new project car. So I reached out to him, and the real short on the way the process goes, you reach out to him, you build that relationship. As long as you're not messing around, as long as you're not window shopping, you know, and you're serious and you want to buy a car, you guys have a little discussion. You send them over a deposit. At the time that I did this, the deposit was $1,000, fully refundable. So if for some reason the car that you bid on didn't go through and you decide you no longer want to do it, they'll refund you. Again, at the time I did this, it was $1,000 deposit, which was refundable. So I reached out to him and said, hey, this is what I'm looking for. He, you know, we're in a chat where he sends out auction sheets and everything else. I pulled one of them off the auction sheets and said, hey, I want this. Here's deposit. Let me know what's up. And immediately reached back out to me and said, oh, cool, you're serious? No problem. Cool, I got the deposit. Yep, okay, we'll go look at that car. Do you want us to do an inspection on the car? You know, and I mean, I guess I could have just bid and said, hey, no, don't worry about it. Don't do an inspection. I'll take my chance, roll the dice and everything. But, you know, it's definitely worth the inspection and the very, very minor cost it is for them to do the inspection, which if you end up buying the car, the inspection goes into the price of the car. So again, not an issue there. They happen to look at the first EK9 that I sent them. It was a black one. They went and looked at it, sent me back, I think within an hour and a half. It was super fast, but within like an hour and a half, they had already sent me back info, sent me back a rack of photos, videos, inspection sheet, everything else on this vehicle. And, you know, they had went and inspected it in person. Incredible service. So I went through it, had a little back and forth with them, and that first one I had picked out really ended up not being what I wanted. So I was like, hey, completely appreciate the inspection. For me, on that car specifically, just so you guys know, the reason I didn't want it was it had an old school aftermarket body kit, which I didn't mind, but had non-OEM headlights, non-OEM taillights, you know, and a couple other aftermarket things, which, as you guys know, on an EK9, headlights alone are what, like $800-900, and I like the way the OEM headlights look. So, you know, I was definitely in my discussion with them wanting more of an OEM plus type of setup for this project. So I said, hey man, you know, I thank you so much for looking at it, but I guess this isn't one for me. Can you find me one? Is there anything else coming up at auction? I would prefer a black one. I wanted a black one over a white one. Everybody loves yellow, and honestly, a yellow one would have been great, but most of the time for the yellow one, you have to wait, and they just don't come up at auction as often. So he had another black one that was coming up to auction a little later in the day. He said, well, what about this one? It looks more OEM plus, looks pretty OEM from the exterior. Do you want us to go look at that one? My answer was yes. And he said, cool, I'll reach out to you in a couple hours and let you know how it goes. And that's exactly how the process went. They went and looked at it, took a bunch of photos, sent me back videos. It had startup videos, rev videos, everything else. And they basically went through the car for me. So that one is this one. And the way it goes was I said, yep, that's exactly what I want. It looks great. Yes, let's do it. So we agreed upon a total, you know, highest bid amount if needed. If it was anything below that bid amount, it was fine. It would go through. But the highest amount I wanted to spend. So 6 hours later, they had reached out to me and said, hey, congratulations, you now own an EK9. So we here was the total bid amount. Send us the money, which of course is how it goes. So I sent them the final amount. We paid out that, and that was it. So the next process as it goes down the line is, of course, it has to get shipped over. So he had asked me, hey, do you already have a broker that you work with? Do you want to use one of the brokers we deal with? You know, whatever you want. And I was like, look, if it's already somebody you work with, I don't have to go hunt them out. I don't have to figure it out on my own. If you have good relation with them, that's good for me. So I ended up using their broker. Their broker then handled everything moving forward from there. Sent me some paperwork I needed to fill out and sign. I signed that, sent it back to them. And they're like, cool, we'll let you know when it hits the ship. About a week later, got on the ship, got my advisement that it went on the ship. Everything's good. They then let me know, we'll track it as the ship's getting close. We'll let you know as it gets, you know, I let them know which port I wanted it to go to. Being out here in Northern Virginia, I was like, hey, just send it out to Baltimore. You know, do the Baltimore port. And then as through discussion with them, I said, hey, you know, do you guys already have someone that picks up from the ports in Baltimore, or, you know, how does that process work? Do you already have somebody you work with? And I would have completely missed this, absolutely 100% missed this. They said, you know what, there should be enough time. Why don't you just go get a TWIC card? And for you guys that don't know, a TWIC card is kind of like a pre-clearance that allows you access onto the ports. That process, again, was super easy. I went and did that. They do the background check. I got lucky enough that it did come back within a month. And it came back in enough time that I was actually able to use it to get onto the port and go pick up the car myself, which that was kind of a cool process too. But yeah, so I went and got myself my own TWIC card, cleared that process, and when it came into port at Baltimore, the broker notified me when it was off the boat, off the vessel, and ready to be able to be picked up. I set up my scheduled time to go out there. And then at that point, with my TWIC card, I was able to gain access onto the port. Port of Baltimore, went over, went up to the shipping company that had, you know, still had it in possession, still had it there, and turned in the paperwork that my broker had provided, and that was it. They pulled up my car for me, and they're like, congratulations, here's your car. And I brought it home. Like, just that easy. So, like, the entire process. Now, again, I still need to go get my plates. I still need to do my registration. But at least for out where we are, the process seems relatively simple. If any of you guys know, if you're out in Northern Virginia and you've used a really good DMV that deals with right-hand drive cars, drop that in the comments for me. It's definitely going to be an easier process if I go to a DMV that's already worked with registering and plating JDM cars, because, you know, they already know what they're doing. But otherwise, I've done the process before. It's not horrible, but it definitely helps if you're working with a DMV that's done the process before. So anyways, let's get to the why. Why I picked the EK9 over the pretty large group I could have in the Honda family. So you guys know I was definitely looking for like a CRX. I was looking at an EG, and I think the EK9. I think those were my top three. So out of those top three, I really wanted all of them. Honestly, and I still do. And as time goes on, I would imagine I'll have each one of them at one time or another. At least that's my hope. So what made me pick the EK9 the most out of that group? For you guys that don't know or haven't heard, the CRX is by far one of my favorite cars. Okay. And what I was looking for was a glass top SIR. They're still available. They're still okay for price. And in the end, they probably even would have been a little cheaper than the EK9, at least for what I'm seeing for prices right now. But here's the thing with that. Well, I need two. For a CRX, I need a glass top and a non-glass top. The non-glass top I can take to the track. The non-glass top I can run around, and it's not going to hurt my feelings. The glass top one, you don't take that to the track. I mean, you can, you can, but you're not going to. Like that's not the purpose of a glass top. So, well, that would be one thing, is I would need to buy two instead of just one. But anyways, the other thing I was looking at was with the CRX, the parts are getting a lot harder to find. So to do a really solid like OEM plus style, one, you either need to buy a really expensive, really well kept SIR version of a glass top, or you're gonna just have to start hunting for parts. And I was like, man, I really just want to drive it. I really just want to get a car in. I just really want to be able to drive. I wanted, of course, specific model-wise, I want either, the SIR or, more the limited edition, glass top version. So that was kind of what kept me out of, the CRX. Was I was just a little concerned with the availability of the parts or being able to run a super clean one. So that kind of, all right. So that's what kicked me out of that one. So then I was like, all right, well, let's do an EG, right? So I was talking with some people about them and everything else, and the EG seemed really good. But again, it's the EG SIR, or if I really wanted to be like, really limited, I'd get the SIR2, which, has all the extra little special goodies. I can still do a good OEM plus one. And I had a really good, like, it must have been an hour long, maybe even longer discussion with one of my buddies, really comparing the SIR and the EK9. And we kept going back about kind of all the differences and everything else. And through the discussion, as much as I still wanted the EG, I was like, we talked about the refinements of the EK9 and how it was just that one step further, that one step into kind of more of a driver's car, a little bit more refinement. And I'm like, man, okay, so does that eliminate the EG? And I'm like, okay, well, it kind of makes sense. And then, thinking through it, I'm like, well, I would also like a Type R. Well, once I thought that, I was like, well, what else am I going to do? I wanted a Civic versus an ITR. Sorry for you ITR guys. So I was like, you know what? Why not just get the first Type R? Let's do that. And not necessarily the first being being the pre-generation of when they first dropped them, 96 or whatever it is. You guys will fact check me on that one. But the fact that, well, let's get one. So I wanted black, like I said. So that moved us up. And then I did like the facelift. So like the second version or the second gen of the EK9. So I like that. So that's what put me into this one. I really like the idea of the B16B. Again, it gives you that limited run, that limited access, everything else. And then I had no idea initially. This is something that we've had discussions with in a bunch of other videos where I talk about like the FL5, the FK8. And I'm like, oh, they just make so many of them. It doesn't make sense. Yes, they're a Type R, but there's no, they're not limited. It seems like you can go out and buy one anytime you want. Well, I didn't realize production numbers on the EK9 until later on, after I'd already purchased this, and you know, it was almost here, and I was kind of doing some additional research. Again, you guys can fact check me on this. If I'm wrong, drop the numbers down in there. But what I found was, for the EK9, the Type R specifically, they only made like 16,000. They made like 15 and change, you know, almost 16,000 of them. But that's it. So, in my opinion, okay, again, I feel super lucky and really honored to be able to own something of such a limited run, or, you know, a limited production. I was able, you know, to get myself an EK9 where there just aren't that many. So I'm really excited about the fact that, one, I got one, and two, I'm gonna get to build it, and this is my new project car. It's definitely gonna fall more of Mr. McRib 47 will love this comment, but it's gonna be more of an OEM plus. But I am gonna follow like if it was being built in Japan. So you're gonna see very, very like JDM style build on this, with as many JDM parts as I can build, you know, as I can get, but still keep that OEM plus feel for it. Now, you guys, I'm gonna keep it a little secret, because you guys know I like to, and I would like you guys to comment on this. What do you think I'm gonna do for parts? So there's definitely an easy, obvious direction that a lot of builders like to do, and I'm not knocking it because they're quality parts. So, you know, a lot of people like to do spoon builds. They look amazing. They perform amazing. They'll do that. They'll do spoon with a mix of Mugen, and run that way. So my question to you guys is, you think this is going to be a spoon build? Do you think I'm going to go like HKS? I was doing a bunch of HKS stuff for my GTR. There's J's, there's Toda, there's Seeker. Who else? Man, I'm gonna feel bad because I know I'm missing a couple other big companies, but there's a lot of JDM direction you can go. And for any of you guys that know me or know the way I like to set up my builds, I've already got my list. I've already got my spreadsheet. I already know what I'm, probably 98% of what I'm going to put in this car already. And that's not to say, I don't know if you guys can see it on camera or not. I'm sure you guys sharp enough. I already got a set of wheels back there. I've already got an exhaust. I've already got a race seat. So I've already got some fundamentals already started, that'll be going on this right away. And of course I'll document that process and I'll show you guys what I got. But I'd like you guys to guess. So you guys throw some comments down there. Let me know what you think. Just for you guys that, you know, think you're super funny, I'm not K-swapping this. This is one car that will not get K-swapped. This B16B will stay in this car. So I just want to put that there. But I really love the B16B. I love the older, again, the older like manual feel of the older Hondas. So we're definitely going to try and stay true to that. So you're not going to see a K big turbo in this or anything like that. We're gonna keep this respectfully JDM, OEM plus, do as many JDM Japanese parts as we can put on it, and go from there. So I think what I'll do is I'm gonna grab that camera off that stand, throw you guys on the gimbal, and we're going to walk you around the car a little bit. I'm going to show you exterior, give you guys a little fit and finish for the way the car looks. It's still dirty. So if you guys are seeing it and it's not as shiny as it could be, the car, I've literally had the car 3 days. I haven't even had a chance to fully wash it. I wiped it down just a little bit to see what it feels like. It's pretty smooth. But we'll go through and I'll show you guys paint chips. I'll show you guys interior, the little imperfections that it has, because it's a 25-year-old car. And I didn't want a trailer car. You know, this is a car I'm going to drive. This is a car I'm going to take to shows. This is a car, for you guys that have been paying attention, that I'm going to start hosting events with. So, oh, you guys keep up for that. We're gonna have some fun with hosting events. But yeah, let me move you guys, put you guys over on the gimbal. We'll run around the car a little bit. I'll show you the exterior. Again, I'll show you what little minor imperfections that it came with. For anybody that really needs to know, DM me. I'll let you know prices, okay? DM me, we can talk. And then, of course, I'll put you with my guy if you're serious. And, you know, he'll take care of you from there. So, all right, let's move around. Let me show you guys what's going on with the car. Alright guys, so let's take a little look under the hood. Let me we'll start here and I'll show you guys some of the stuff. You know, that right there is what it's all about, right? That B16B, you know, power plant. So, not quite as powerful as the 1.8, you know, that came in the Integra Type R, but pretty close. I think it was rated at like 185. B16B, of course, unless someone corrects me, I believe this is the only car that this car came in, that only engine that this car came in. But you history guys would catch me on that if I miss anything on that one. And then, like I said, I wanted the one with the front end, the facelift. I do have some plans for here. You know, Type R headlights, those are, you know, those are a premium. We're running a set of 15-inch. I'll take them off. They should be Buddy Clubs, but they're either, you know, the Buddy Club or the Kose, you know, P1s, depending on your market. So, and I can't knock it. The guy, you know, whoever had it before me, put it on some RE71 RSs, which, hey, that's the exact same wheel combination, you know, that I like. See, I got them right there. Taking a look inside, I'll show you guys on this side first. You know, we've got the red seats, which, you know, again, the red Recaro's there. All right. And then moving inside, you know, you have the red highlights of the Type R. You've got, you know, the Type R floor mat. See if I can get you guys a little light on this. The red Recaros, which are actually the passenger side ones in just phenomenal condition. The driver side one does have a little wear. We go over there and I'll show you that in just a second. He's got this huge double din head unit, which I don't care for. That'll go away. And then let me show you the CTR wheel that's over there. But if we come around back, like everything's in here. Everything's fairly clean. A little dark in here, but just so you guys know, I mean, it's one of those things, as you get a car, you want to inspect it and everything else, make sure it's good to go for yourself. Like, this was one of the funny things I noticed when I was coming back. There was like a little gap right here in the airbag. And I was like, hey, that's kind of funny. There's a little gap. I wonder why. Because they probably either weren't running the wheel or they were running it without the airbag in it, which that's kind of funny. But again, that's how it kind of goes as you know, you import a car, it's somebody else's project. And you know, it's just one of those things. So not a big deal to me. For you guys that don't know, here, I'll show you. I got a little steering wheel collection that I've started. So I'll set it up. I got a little works bell set up for it, and I'll just be dropping whichever wheel I want to work. Right now, these are all on like NRG setups and a little 3D printed, so I can mount them to the wall. But I'll switch all these out for a little works bell setup, and you know, whichever one I feel like running for the day, that's what we're gonna do. So overall, though, like I was saying, the body, like body-wise, is really clean. There's very few imperfections. Body-wise, down the side, paint, you know, dents, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, I still need to detail it. I haven't detailed it yet. But as you can see, kind of looking down the body, looks really good. I was highly, you know, I was really happy about that I got. You've got some front end, you know, some front end little, you know, specks and nicks in the paint, which is fine. It's a 25-year-old car. It's expected. You got a little wear right here on the top edge of the bumper. And then there was a pretty good one. Yeah, there's a decent one right here in the fender. But besides that, you know, and that's all front end stuff. You'd expect it, you know, rock chips and everything else just from driving it. So overall, though, I think it looks really great. There's like, look, check out how clean the body is. So I'm super happy about that. Besides the dirt that I still need to clean off. Has a little Type R spoiler, which I'll have to, you can hear it's got a little rattle. So we'll fix that rattle in it, figure out what's a little loose, but let's see, got a little rattle. But again, not a big deal. The other thing we noticed once I got into the car and everything, the red badges are absolutely perfect, and the reason they're perfect is because they replaced them before it went to auction. They still had the old stock faded, you know, the previous ones, the faded ones in the glove box, which is cool. One of the other things I'm missing, for you guys that have that keen eye, you might have spotted it, is I'm missing the Type R logos on the sides and on the rear. So I'll have to pick those up. It looks like whoever had this probably just debadged it just for that reason. You know, they just didn't want to let anybody know that it was specifically a Type R. Maybe, but it is, and you know, let me show you guys. Let's open it up, and I'll show you guys that VIN plate, because you know, it's all about that blue VIN plate. So come up over here, do this one-handed for you guys, but you know, there. And for anybody that wants to know which chassis I got, there you go. So, but yeah, overall, like I was saying, I'm really happy with the car. Again, it's super clean. Interior is really clean. There's like a little, I don't know if I can even show you. There's a little hole. It's probably too dark. There's a little hole like right here in the seat, and they put a little black stitching to kind of close up the hole, but it's not bad. It's almost like a cigarette burn, but it's not, because the car doesn't stink. It's actually one of the things I really like about the car is the car smells like Japan to me, which anybody that's been to Japan and loves Japan will understand that. But yeah, so that's that's pretty much it. Little walk around. I think I'll talk to you guys just a real quick second about the my plan for. I don't think I told you guys the project name at the beginning. All right, so you guys will see it. It'll have. I'll work on a custom plate. I'll work on, you know, a banner and some other stuff. See if the cops bother me with a banner out here. But we're gonna call it KI-45. And if you guys look that up, it's a Japanese World War II plane. It was a night strike fight plane, strike fighter, strike bomber, but a night plane, and a couple other cool things about it was like the Allied forces had a name for it, which was another reason I like this one. And for anybody that looks it up and looks a little further, so the Allied forces gave it the name Nick. That's me. So I think it fits. I like that its other name, that its Japanese designation or name that it had to translates into Dragonslayer, which is kind of cool. So I'll probably put that on the banner. I'll put it in some kanji or some katakana and put Dragonslayer after that, and do the license plate KI-45. And then for anybody that knows me or you know, has been around me enough, they, you know, I normally run like either a bag or even like my own hoodie that has a little camo in it. So it all kind of fits that kind of like military, you know, type of theme. And so I thought it fit with the car. You know, the car have a project name. Its name will be my name. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. But anyways, you guys let me know what you think about that. It was, you know, whatever. Like I said, this is my first project car that isn't an initial D car. Which I guess is another reason I didn't get the yellow. Because if I got the yellow, that would have automatically been a Toto Racing School. That's exactly what that one would have been if I had gotten a yellow one. And I probably would have had to spoon theme that one too. But anyways, you guys, let me know. Drop your comments. This is what I'm going to start running around in. This is what I'm going to start building. I've already got parts for it. We're going to start throwing those on probably the second I turn this camera off. It's been like, what, like 3-4 days now, and like it's like money burning a hole in your pocket. I got parts and I'm like, oh, I just got to put them in. I got to put them in. So we're going to start doing that. I'll go through that process for you guys too. But I wanted to introduce you to the EK9 Project KI-45. I hope you guys like this. I hope y'all are looking forward to seeing this as much as I can't wait to get in this and start having fun with it. So I'll see you guys at the next one. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for helping me continue to grow this channel. And we're going to get out of here for now. I'm probably going to go work on the car. And I'll see you guys at the next one. All right, thanks.